Picture this. A quiet suburban street in the 1970s. Kids playing outside, cars zooming by with fumes filling the air. Moms paint the nursery walls with bright colors, not knowing the hidden danger. Now fast forward, those same kids grow up, and suddenly America is gripped by fear. Monsters like Ted Bundy charm their way into lives, only to end them in horror. The 1980s saw serial killers everywhere, stalking the night. Then, poof, they started to disappear. No more headlines screaming about bodies in rivers or hidden graves. What stopped the nightmare? A new theory shakes everything. It wasn't smarter cops or locked doors. It was getting rid of one poison from our world. Lead. This toxic stuff warped young brains, turning some into killers. As we cleaned it up, the killers faded. But the scars remained, a chilling reminder how everyday choices can breed evil. The hook that grabs you is the sheer number of bodies piling up in the golden age of serial killers, from the 1960s to the 1990s. Imagine the fear. In 1980 alone, over 200 active serial killers roamed America, claiming victims in brutal ways. Ted Bundy, charming and smart, confessed to 30 murders, bludgeoning young women and dumping them in forests. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, strangled over 49 women, leaving them along Washington rivers. In the Pacific Northwest, it was like a hotbed. Bundy, Ridgway. Even Charles Manson's cult ties stretched there. The disturbing part? These weren't monsters from movies. They were neighbors, truck drivers, students. One day you're hitchhiking home. The next you're gone forever. News reports showed maps dotted with crime scenes, from Seattle's rainy streets to California's sunny highways. What made this era so bloody? The hook pulls you in. Something in the air, literally, turned ordinary people into predators. It's unsettling to think a hidden toxin could explain the gore. Behind the nightmare hid a perfect American dream, or so it seemed. Post-World War II, life looked great. Families moved to suburbs. Dads drove shiny cars fueled by leaded gas to prevent engine knocks. Homes got fresh coats of lead-based paint, bright and durable. Kids played in yards near factories, spewing smoke, breathing it all in. In places like Tacoma, Washington, the Asarco smelter churned out copper, but also dumped tons of lead and arsenic into the air, soil, and water. It was normal progress. Caroline Fraser, in her book Murderland, paints this facade. Smiling families in Seattle, unaware their air was poisoned. Lead was everywhere. In gas exhaust blanketing cities. In paint chips kids might eat, even in food solder. Society thrived on it. Cars ran smoother. Houses looked nicer. But under this cozy layer lurked damage. Brains of young boys, more vulnerable, started changing quietly. No one suspected the facade would crack, birthing a wave of violence. It was the ideal life, poisoned from within. The spiral began in the 1940s and 1950s, as lead use exploded. Leaded gasoline hit the market in the 1920s, but the post-war boom meant more cars, more fumes. By the 1960s, U.S. lead emissions peaked at over 200,000 tons a year. Kids born then absorbed it through lungs and mouths. Lead levels in blood soared, up to 20 micrograms per deciliter, way above safe limits. Science shows lead attacks the brain's frontal lobe, the part controlling impulses and empathy. Boys suffered more. Their developing brains shrunk, aggression spiked. Crime rates climbed. Violent acts jumped 400% from 1960 to 1990. Serial killers emerged in droves, 669 in the 1990s alone. In the Pacific Northwest, smelters like Asarco amplified it. Soil tests showed lead levels 10 times higher. Fraser notes killers like Bundy and Ridgway grew up in this toxic soup, their childhoods marked by the invisible poison. As exposure peaked, so did the killings. Bodies found in dumps, rivers swollen with secrets. The spiral twisted tighter. Poverty and abuse mixed with lead, pushing vulnerable minds over the edge. By the 1980s, America was in free fall, gripped by fear of unseen predators. Then comes a reveal that flips the script. It was lead all along. The lead crime hypothesis says removing lead from gas and paint caused a drop in killers, not just better policing. Phase out starting in the 1970s. Leaded gas was banned by 1996. Crime plunged 20 years later, a lag matching kids growing up cleaner. Studies back it. Jessica Wool-Poiret's 2007 paper linked lead cuts to a 56% violent crime drop. A 2011 UN study said ditching leaded gas prevented 58 million crimes worldwide. In the U.S., a 2022 meta-analysis pegged lead abatement to up to 28% of homicide declines. For serial killers, Fraser ties it to brain damage. Lead shrinks the prefrontal cortex, boosting psychopathy traits. Pacific Northwest smelter pollution hit hard, explaining clusters there. Numbers tell it. 669 killers in 1990s, down to 117 in 2010s. The reveal devastates because it's preventable. Industry knew lead was toxic since the 1920s, but pushed it anyway. Other factors like DNA tech helped, but lead was the big villain. This truth hits hard. Our environment shaped monsters. In the debrief, experts weigh in. The hypothesis, from economists like Reyes, gained traction in the 2000s. A 2017 study by Azer and Curry showed lead-exposed kids face more suspensions and detentions. But critics say it's overstated. Poverty, abuse, and better forensics explain more. The 2022 meta-analysis found links, but not as strong as claimed. Public reaction? Mixed. Books like Murderland sparked buzz in 2025, with podcasts and articles calling it game-changing. On X, users share graphs showing killer peaks matching lead exposure. Some hail it as proof of environmental justice. Others doubt, pointing to mass shooters rising instead. Fraser says a new wave is unlikely with lead gone, but warns of other toxins. Debates rage online. Guardian reviews praise the theory, while skeptics demand more proof. Overall, it's shifted how we see crime. Not just bad people, but bad air. The emotions swell from curiosity to horror. Start with nostalgia for simpler times, then dread as killers emerge from shadows. Feel the betrayal of trusted products poisoning kids. Anger builds at industries hiding truths. Sadness for victims' families left in pain. Tension peaks with the reveal, relief that it's over, but fear of what else lurks. It's a roller coaster. Hope in science, but a gut punch realizing how close we came to endless nightmares. Today, with lead mostly gone, serial killers are rare ghosts of the past. But think, what if we hadn't acted? Streets might still run red. This theory reminds us, our world shapes us, for better or worse. Clean air saves lives, but vigilance matters. Next time you fill up unleaded, remember the poison generation. Their stories warn. Ignore hidden dangers and monsters return. Let's keep the air clean for all our sakes.
Like and subscribe.